G'day, and welcome back to my 100 Days Ultimate Survivor series. After conquering Rockwell and descending from Aberration, I now have 100 days to beat the Alpha King Titan and stop his reign over the Earth. I also plan to kill 3 Titans before 50 days. Can I do it? Let's find out.
You've reached the end of your path, Survivor. Just as Helena Walker once did. It is here that she and her allies faced their final battles. It's up to you to make sure their sacrifices weren't in vain. The alien element that ended our world has willed a titanic adversary into being, to rule in the ruins. Find a way to dethrone that king, and you'll clear the way for me to call down the arts, enabling nature to be reseeded, humanity and Earth's many creatures, and evolution itself can be restored. Helena Walker wanted it so. No. I wanted it. I may be the one who waits, but I'm still Helena too. I remember everything now. The struggles I faced. The losses I felt. And the love that I found. I can see the world through my own eyes again. And Survivor, I'm certain of one thing now. You got this, mate.
Day 1 on Extinction. I quickly gather the resources to make myself a full set of armor and a pick and a hatchet. I then am able to make a bow and 100 arrows and some bowlers. I get crystal from this lamppost to make a spyglass, and I love getting crystal early, instead of having to climb some stupid mountain. I make a thatch foundation so I can place my mortar and pestle down. I then craft and place down 2 refining forges so I can get some metal smelting. I then gather as much metal as I can from the river rocks. I now have enough metal for a smithy, so I make myself a metal hatchet and a metal pick, and then a crossbow. My meat has finally spoiled, so I can make some narcotics. I then put them to use straight away by bowlering and knocking out this level 65 pterodon. It's only a low level, so I probably could have just fed it normal meat, but I wanted to get some prime. So I found this Bronto down the river, and after what felt like a century, I finally took him out. I gathered all the juicy prime meat and fed it to my pterodon. I made him a saddle and called him Pete. Yes, very original. And then me and Pete went on our first flight. I wanted to explore the map a little bit, and I also wanted to look for some high level PTs and maybe an RG. I love the overgrown, sort of broken down city look. It's really cool. And this middle part is especially cool. Day 2 rolls around and I find this level 120 pterodon. So I start knocking him out when this spider comes and helps. The PT gets out of his bowler, but because of the spider, he knocks out while he's trying to fly away. And down she goes. So I start taking down this stego to get some prime meat, and by the time I'm done, the PT had just disappeared. Something must have eaten it, so that's unfortunate. I went back to base and I got to experience my first meteor shower. It was really cool, and I love it when they bounce off the force field. It makes a really cool sound. But so far, I'm really digging Extinction. I'm now able to make a fabricator, so I placed down a thatch foundation for it. I then went out to kill some corrupted dinos, because when you farm them, they drop corrupted nodules, which act as organic polymer. Now I can finally make canteens, so I can stop being so dehydrated. This stego was wandering around my base, so I trapped her and knocked her out, and she'll be a good berry farmer. Unfortunately, my footage for day 3 got corrupted, but I'll just have to tell you what happened. I tamed a level 80 Argy, and then with the Argy I roamed around a bit until I found a level 140 Anki. So I brought the Anki home and knocked her out. Day 4, and I explored the desert biome a little bit. Eventually I came across this level 130 Dodic, so I scooped her up, took her back home, and began the taming process. Day 5, and I went around the local beaver dams to raid their cementing paste. I then explored and looked for tames when I came across a 135 PT, so I followed it and knocked her out. Nobody ate my tame this time. Yay. I needed some crystal, so I went and farmed these tables that were near my base, and holy crap, you get so much crystal from these. 2,500 just from like 4 tables. Day 6, and I'm exploring the snow biome because I want to find a mana. Eventually I find this 105, so I net it and get the trap set up. There's probably cheaper ways to trap these guys, but I thought this was pretty easy, so I'm gonna stick with it. As I was trapping the mana, another one spawned on me, but luckily my RG was there to save the day. I knocked out the Managama, and thankfully when you trap a mana, they basically just jump around like crazy, and they drain all their food. So once you feed them, they insta-tame, which is very handy. If you didn't know, when you have a saddle on an Argentavis, they work as a smithy, so I was able to make a saddle for the mana right there. They have a pretty awesome triple jump, and then they've got kind of like a dash ability. And after doing the 3 jumps and the dash, I was already out of stamina. And then they have like a laser ice breath, which is awesome. It freezes dinos, I think like all dinos, even gigas, for a little bit, and does a pretty decent amount of damage, kind of like a lightning wyvern. Day 7, and I want to try my hand at a blue drop. I figured this guy should be able to handle it easily, and yes, the blue drop was unbelievably easy. I think you could probably do it with dodos, honestly. It was basically just dillos and stegos that spawned. I think that was it, maybe a couple raptors, but yeah, very easy. And that's my first OSD down. Now let's check out the loot. Considering how easy the blue drop was, it's kind of expected that the loot's not great, but I got a decent crossbow upgrade and a pike, and I honestly mostly wanted to do it just for the cryopods, which I used straight away because I want to move to a more permanent base location. I found this nice little spot up high, and I think it'll work well for us. So I packed up all my stuff, grabbed the PTs, and headed over. Day 8 began with me setting up some foundations, so I have a bit of a workshop until I build an actual base. I then placed down all my workbenches and a generator for power. I then end the day by gathering as much metal as I can from the nearby nodes and setting up a bunch of refining forges to get all of that metal smelting straight away. Day 9, and I spot a 10k element vein, which I think is the easiest, same as the blue drop, so I decided to give that a go and get some element. Just like the blue OSD, it was really easy, just stegos, dillos, and a couple raptors here and there. Didn't take me too long, maybe 20 minutes, so let's see how much element we get. So after you finish the element vein, you can harvest up all the nodes. So there's a big node in the middle and then little ones all around it. you have to get all the little ones around it first, and then the big one. If you do the big one first, all the little ones disappear. So yeah. And after all that, I ended up with just over 100 element, I think. I probably could have got more if I could be bothered to turn element dust and element shards into element, but I couldn't be bothered. I then farmed a bunch of oil out in the wastelands, because I need a bunch of gasoline for my generator. Then on my way home, I came across this 150 Enforcer. So I killed it and picked up a blueprint, which was, I think it was a level 142. So I'm gonna build that and see how it goes. I went to the nearest city terminal and put all the stuff I need and built it. It actually wasn't very expensive at all, considering it's a fairly high level. So let's give it a go. I took it out into the wastelands and started hitting stuff. And 322 damage from the start is pretty damn good, honestly. These guys do more damage to corrupted creatures than normal. So they're basically built for this. But its health was really crap. I think it's only got 2,000 health. So after facing this Trike and Rex, I was getting close to death. After trying it out, I never used this again. It was just too low HP, and the damage was okay, but it's nowhere near as good as my mana, so what was the point? I ended the day by exploring the underground forest. I gathered some cementing paste, and then I looked for 2 tames that I really wanted. And I found a breeding pair, a male and female otter. I wanted an otter for their insulation passive, so when I go out into the wastelands I don't die of heat. And on day 11 I got my baby otter. So now I just have to raise him up. While he was raising, I decided to do another blue drop because I wanted some more cryopods. Again, super easy, didn't take me too long, and I got what I wanted. Day 12, and I was out and about in the wastelands looking for tames when I came across this level 120 Thyla. So I made a little trap and dropped her in. After I knocked her out, I went home to grab some cooked mutton that I got from the blue drop, because Thylas like cooked food more than they like raw, and she tamed up. I forgot to start recording day 13, so this is like halfway into it, but I trapped this Karch, and I'm gonna kill it with my Thyla. This is exactly why I tamed the Thyla, because they kill Gigas really quickly. 20 hits and they're dead. I then stumbled across this level 140 mana, so again I netted it and trapped it. After I knocked him out, I fed him prime meat, and he insta-tamed again because he was jumping around and drained all his food. Then I found another Giga, and I trapped it and used my Thyla to kill it. Right after I killed it, I was healing up my Thyla when another Giga spawned. Because of the stupid force field, I couldn't check its level, and it got pretty close, and I kind of almost died. But thankfully Gigas are stupid, and they just go after anything that's close to them, so I managed to get away. Eventually I got him trapped as well, and then I needed to heal my Thyla up because he was almost dead. And after not too long, this Giga went down as well. All I did day 14 was tame a pretty low level female mana, but now I have a breeding pair. Day 15 and I completed another blue drop, and I got diddly squat from the loot. Then I did another 10k element vein. I need a bunch of element obviously because I want to make a tech replicator and a bunch of other tech stuff. So yeah. And just the same as last time, it got a bit over 100 element. On day 16 I was breeding my manas, and after not too long I managed to get twin males with the good stats. So now I just have to raise them up. While the manas were raising, I did a quick metal run, and then I came home and got my last imprint. I named my mana Rise. Day 17 rolled around and I decided to do a bit of a note run with Rise to get him leveled up. After all the leveling, I got to 10,000 HP, 2,500 stam, and 500 melee. These stats are way better than the mana I had before, so I'm going to try a yellow drop. Wave 0 and 1 were pretty easy, and then wave 2 out came the Spinos, and these guys were pretty beefy. All of the dinos had much higher level. On the blue drop they were like level 20, and everything on this drop was over a level 100, so it was a pretty big difference. Wave 3 and Paraceratheriums came by, and again these guys were even beefier than the Spinos, and they hit surprisingly hard. Then I got to wave 4 and 2 enraged Trikes spawned.
Oh no, bro!
And these guys hit like a flipping truck. I was not expecting to have to deal with these guys on a yellow drop. So I had to back up a little bit and play from distance, because if I had them all swarm around me, I'd be dead in seconds. And even with the backing up, I was still very close to death. Eventually I had to just run away because I was so close to death. The enraged Trikes were just crazy. I couldn't get through them. So after that disappointing loss, I decided to stay home and set up my base a little bit. And there we go, got a nice little house and a greenhouse, tamed a dung beetle for fertilizer, and we're good to go. Day 22 and I was in the underground forest looking for gachas. To tame them, you just drop structures in front of them. The higher tier the structure, the better effectiveness, so tech obviously being the best. I just used greenhouse ceilings, and they weren't perfect tames, but they were pretty close. Gachas will produce materials for you, so I want to tame a few so I can get gachas that produce black pearls. Day 23 and I'm out looking for tames. I kill a couple of low level Karch and I came across this level 75, so I decided I'd try my hand at taming one. I knew the basics of how to tame these guys, but it wasn't really working for me. I would put the bodies in front of it and it just didn't sniff or didn't eat at all. While I was trying to tame it, I got interrupted by a level 145 Argy, so obviously I had to trap that and tame it right away. And now I have a high level Argy, heck yes, very easy tame, went perfectly. Now back to the Karch. After a while of messing around with the Karch, it obviously didn't want to eat when I brought it stuff, so I would put all of the dinos in front of it and I would go out of render distance, and once it came back into render distance it would eat all the dinos at once. So this seemed to work, and eventually I got him to the point where I could ride him. If you're not familiar with the taming process, after you feed them dead bodies, they will have a little green bar that means you can ride them. Then you get 10 minutes to kill as many dinos as you can, and within that 10 minutes you have to get to 100%, and then you have a Karch. So I just ran around killing everything in sight, and I noticed that if you took damage, the taming effectiveness would go down. So you've kind of just got to be aware of that and make sure you don't get hit too much. After about 5 minutes, I finally got the Karch all the way to 100%, and he's mine. And I've got to say, the colors on this guy is amazing. And funnily enough, after I tamed it, I walked over the dossier for the Karch. I was still out in the wastelands when I came across a high level female RG. I can't remember what, I think it was a 150. So I trapped her and knocked her out, and I went off to get prime meat. When I came back, a dire wolf was eating it, and yeah, she went down to 50% taming effectiveness. So I'll have to wake her up and tame her again. Day 25, and I'm still waiting for the RG to wake up, so I'm just going around killing all the gigas and Karches that I can find. I go back to base, and I finally have got a gacha that produces black pearls. My RG finally wakes up, so I bring her a wolf to feed off to bring her HP back up, and then I knock her out, and because she was waiting so long, her food was like basically completely empty, so she insta-tames. Woo! Then I go home and get my male and female RG breeding straight away. Day 26 starts off with some armor painting, and I painted some of my weapons as well. Then I get my final imprint on the RG, and 900 weight and 456 melee is amazing. I now have a raised and imprinted Karch, so I take it out to do a element vein. This was a 25k I think, and it went very well. The Karch is insane. It was a little bit harder than a blue drop, but not too bad. The biggest things that spawned were Paraceratheriums, I think. I don't even think they were Spinos, so pretty easy. I got a little bit over 400 element from this one, so a lot better than the 10k. Definitely worth the effort. Got my tribute box set up, and it's looking not too shabby. I'm not really sure what I need, so I'm just collecting everything. I need to name my dinos, so I named the Karch Athena, the RG Freya, I named the Enforcer R2, I named the Dodic Chameleonaire, the Anki Ginger, and my Thyla I named Nyla. I then go out and do a note run with Freya, my newly imprinted RG, and I get her up to 3k weight. I didn't pump any stats into anything else, I just wanted pure weight so I can get a crap ton of metal. And it was worth it, because in one trip I managed to get 17,000 metal. Yes. Day 28, and I managed to get another gacha that produces black pearls. I then came across a yellow drop, and it crossed over to day 29, and I forgot to start recording. So I missed the yellow drop entirely, but I did get this 50k element vein. This was much harder than anything of the other ones I've done. The wyverns were like pretty high level, and they hit hard. But thankfully, Athena handled it like an absolute boss. She hardly even dropped HP. Their passive healing is crazy. These guys are amazing. Now I don't want to do anything less than a 50k, because I got over 1,000 element, which is crazy good. But as I was gathering it all, I made myself go unconscious. Lol. Day 30, and I finally have enough black pearls to make a tech replicator, so I'm putting it on my roof. Now I want to make a bunch of tech gear, so I go out into the wastelands to get as many corrupted nodules as I can carry. After a good half an hour of being out in the wastelands, I managed to get 1400 nodules, and that's more than enough to craft everything that I want. Day 31, and here we are, a full tech suit. Heck yes. This is a huge step up for our Extinction playthrough. I also made myself a tech bow. I've never had one of these before, and it's really cool. I plan to knock out some gigas with this. Day 32, and as I'm killing this Karch, another one spawns behind me. This guy was a level 95, so I decided to tame it, and as I started, a Giga spawned. Like, this area is crazy. So I grabbed the Giga's attention and led him away so I could tame the Karch in peace. I did the same method as dropping all the bodies in front of the Karch and then going out and back into render distance, and again worked very well. Now I've got to kill everything in sight and get this guy to 100%. I got to 91% with 3 minutes left on the clock and it kicked me off. I have no idea why. If you know, let me know in the comments, but yeah, I managed to trap him back anyway and it was fine. After a few attempts, I got the Karch to be my friend again, and we went on another quick little rampage. Because it was so close to being tamed before, it started off at like 91%, so I killed like 10 things and it was good to go. So I took him home and immediately got him breeding. Day 34 was a chill at base day. I gathered more organic polymer and black pearls from my gachas, raised some more RGs and imprinted them. I started raising a few more Karches, just in case I need them for some more OSDs. I then ended the day with a few more Gigas kills. Day 35, and I'm in the snow biome because I want to tame a snow owl. I find this level 100 and decide that's good enough, so I get him trapped. With my new tech bow, it doesn't take long for him to get knocked out, and he tames up relatively quickly.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Finally found a high level Giga. I've killed so many already, but 140, pretty damn good. 241 tranks I thought would be more than enough, and it wasn't. I eventually ran out, so I had to go back to base to get some more shards. Once I came back, after about another 100 tranks, he did go down. Then I pumped him full of narcotics because Gigas wake up crazy quick, and he tamed up. I have no idea if the stats on this Giga are any good, but they seem decent. On the morning of day 37, I take Athena out to the wastelands to find a drop. As I'm going around getting stacks, I find a red OSD. So it's time to give it a go. Wave 0 and 1, not too bad. They're definitely much higher level, but it went pretty smoothly. Then wave 2 came around and it started to get a bit harder. Mostly because there was more dinos that spawned, not necessarily harder ones. Then the Wyverns came, level 280. But Athena being imprinted and pretty well leveled and at 100 stacks, she's just shredding through anything that comes near her. And waves 4 and 5 were pretty easy, no enraged trikes, which I found weird because I had enraged trikes on a yellow drop, but none on a red drop. The loot was much better than the blue and yellow drop. I got a crap ton of black pearls, which was nice. I got some pretty good flak gear, but I now have tech and I don't really want to go back to flak. I also got a pretty decent chest piece, tech chest piece, but it's a blueprint and it's crazy expensive, so I don't know if I'll even make it. But I did get a bunch of corrupted hearts, which was very helpful. I then ended the day with another fat metal run. Day 38, and I'm doing another red drop with Athena. There's a particular blueprint that I really want from these, so I'm going to keep grinding them until I get it. This red drop was a little bit harder. Enraged trikes started to spawn on wave 4. I think there was about 4 or 5 of them, and they still hit very hard, but thankfully Athena is very beefy. For the first time so far, Athena actually took a significant amount of damage, but luckily she heals quick. And I managed to finish it. It all in all wasn't too bad, honestly. Once I got rid of the trikes, it was a cakewalk. I got some better loot this time. I don't know if the loot goes up depending on what spawned. Like Enraged Strike spawned this time and the loot was much better, so maybe that's a correlation. But I got exactly what I wanted, and that is a mech blueprint. It is super expensive, but it seems like a decent level. I don't know what level they can get up to, but I really need this for the playthrough, so that was nice. Day 39, and I killed not 1, not 2, but 8 Giga and Karchers. There were so many that spawned today, and none of them were any higher than like level 50. Day 40, I just sat around base collecting gacha crystals for polymer because I want to craft the mech. Day 41, and I'm starting a little build. It's not going to be anything that interesting, but I need an area where I can breed the gigas because there is not enough room up top. The next couple of days, all I did was place down ceilings, collect more stone, place more ceilings, and collect wood, until I finished the whole area. I then connect my tech elevator together, so I can go up and down to the 3 stories. Then I set up some electrics down below, because I want to use the egg incubator. Day 43, I'm back out in the wilderness to find a giga. And after I kill a bunch, I find a level 70 female and decide that that will be good enough. I want to get some breeders going straight away, so I'll just breed upwards and go from there. I actually brought enough tranks this time, so she goes down after a while, and I tame her up pretty easily. I then take her home and get them breeding straight. Day 44, I'm doing some giga breeding, RG breeding, and still collecting more polymer from the gachas. Day 45, and all I need now to make the mech is a bunch of crystal, so I go down and destroy as many lampposts as I can find. I now have everything I need, so let's make this mech. Holy crap, these guys are huge. I forgot how big these mechs are. The colors are okay, but I think I might change them. This did not come out the way I wanted it to, but this is Bumblebee. The yellow is kind of gross and not even really yellow in my opinion, but whatever, it's not bad. With all the gigas and RGs I'm breeding, I needed to do a meat run, so I took out one of my imprinted gigas to see how they go. And without any levels, it was doing 1200 damage, which is awesome. Day 47 and 48, I'm just still doing RG breeding and giga breeding, trying to get enough of them to do all of the titans. I then had to go out and collect a crap ton of chitin, because I've got like 30 RGs and they all need a saddle. All of my RGs are raised, I've just got to level them all up and heal them. I'm leveling them to 10k HP and a little bit over 600 melee. I'm not sure what to expect from the Desert Titan, but I know it's not too hard, so I think they'll be right. I then use my Snow Owl to heal them all to full HP. I end the day by heading to the desert biome and getting all my RGs out ready to fight the Desert Titan. I then headed into the cave and just jumped past all of the nasties. I didn't really care to fight anything and the mana just goes through all of it very quickly. For some reason the artifact didn't spawn, so I just gifted it to myself, and now I'm ready to go. As the Desert Titan spawning in, I head up to my RGs, and I get on another RG and get them all to follow me so I can go attack the Desert Titan. I'm not sure if the Desert Titan was glitched or something because it didn't move at all. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to move. but it didn't really do anything, it just did its lightning attacks. But it was a super easy fight, it was over in a few minutes, so I'm happy. And there we go, the Desert Titan trophy, and some pretty good loot honestly. I got a cannon module for the mech, so I'll definitely be making that. And I got some pretty decent tech blueprints, but they're super expensive, so I'm not sure. I then head back to base to make the Giga saddles, and I grab 6 Gigas to go and fight the Forest Titan. I run through the cave on a Giga, and it's just an absolute cakewalk with this guy. It pretty much 2-shots everything. The artifact actually spawned this time, so I go and grab it so I can get started on killing this Forest Titan. I spawn on a raptor, so thankfully they're not aberration raptors down here, and so it can't pounce me because that would have been super irritating. But it was fine. I throw out my other Giga, I get my mech out, and I get them to attack the Forest Titan. And that first hit it does 2,500 damage. I was not expecting that. But then the Gigas started hitting it for 5,500 damage. So I think this should go down pretty quickly. And yep, after not even 5 minutes, the Forest Titan goes down. These Gigas are awesome. They're not even mutated too. I take the Gigas back home so I can heal them all with the Snow Owl and get ready for the Ice Titan fight. The Ice Cave was definitely the hardest out of the 3, but with the Giga it's still not very difficult. But the Polar Bears and Yetis just have a crap ton of health, and they do hit surprisingly hard, but again with the Giga it's completely fine. Thankfully the artifact spawned this time as well. I'm not really sure why it didn't spawn in the desert cave, but anyway, it's fine. In go the tributes, and we'll be transported to the Ice Titan. I hadn't set my Gigas up beforehand, so I had to throw them all out as the Ice Titan was spawning in, which was a little nerve-wracking, but it went fine. The Ice Titan hits the hardest for sure. This guy is an absolute beast. The Gigas were definitely raging out, but they all survived. Most of them were about half HP. A couple of them were probably about a quarter. So they were probably taking a bit more of the damage, but it was all good in the end. And just like the other Titans, after not even 5 minutes, the Ice Titan was mine. To be honest, they were a little underwhelming. I was hoping for a bit more of an epic finish, but I know the King Titan is crazy, so I'm pumped for that. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for part 2 as I try to take down the Alpha King Titan on day 100. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.